What up? T-Bob here.
And Jake as well.
And look at you. You done stumbled upon little OTB Saints, where we bring you all the latest black and gold coverage.
Who are the Saints going to draft? Who's going to be their quarterback? What does the salary cap look like? All that information and more.
Hope you enjoy it. Like, subscribe. Nick, you know what's happening? A lot's happening on New Orleans Football. Ton of great content up right now. I still haven't gotten to sit down to watch the Tyrann Mathieu interview yet. But how cool was it to have Tyrann Mathieu in the New Orleans Football studios?
Yeah, no, it was great. I mean, look, he's an incredibly normal person, and I don't some of these guys that play they kind of lose touch a little bit, with just normal folks. Like Tyrann's just a really regular, normal guy. He came in, sat down, was cool, chilled, talked for a while. He's actually gonna be part of our show all season long. So I mean that's something to look forward to. Just get some of his insights throughout the year. So, but yeah, I mean, look, he's incredibly smart. Like just talking football with him, just even in the short time of a year, you just learn more talking to people like him that understand what they're doing, are willing to share their knowledge and all that stuff. So I'm excited to keep talking to him and just learn more and more about the game.
Wow, that's okay. So that's big news right there. Again, this is why you need to sign up for New Orleans Football. Get the best Saints coverage in the business. There's so many great articles up right now. Nick, you have all your film reviews up of the draftees. I love them all. You talk about A.T. Perry maybe being the steal of this Saints draft. Talk about Kendre Miller and breaking down his running style, some of that between the tackles, kind of dirty work. Out of all of your film review, any player, what jumped out to you the most, or maybe you're like, oh, wow, I did not expect this, but now that I dove in, I'm even more excited.
Yeah, I can't lie. Watching Kendre Miller, I was sitting in my living room, there were a few times, I just straight up yelled because it was just, wow. He has exciting film to watch. I mean, some of the stuff he does, he's not Alvin, but there's some Alvinisms to his game, in his ability to have people bounce off him and stuff. But then just some of the cutting ability and the vision and the patience and just kind of the way he combines everything. There are some incredibly exciting moments on his film. And I think he's a lot faster than people think he would be based on his build. I think if he were able to run, it probably would have been high 4.4s, low 4.5. He's pulling off on DBs at SEC schools. He's going against Texas, running away from their guys on a 75-yard run. Mm-hmm. Kansas State had good athletes last year. He's pulling off on them. I mean, there are just a lot of plays where you see decent breakaway speed, and then just his ability to make a cut and go, or set up his blocks and just see the field and just kind of be patient while also dictating action. I think there's a really nice combination of skills there. I think he's going to be really good. And A.T. Perry was another one that was exciting to watch him too, just through the prism of it's a 6th-round pick. And normally when you're watching the 6th-round film, by that point you're kind of praying for mercy. You're looking at how many guys are left on the draft chart, and it's all right, I only got to do one more of these. I can get through this. His was exciting too. Yeah. I mean, I think there's a lot of stuff he does that surprised me a little bit. He's good on in-breaking and out-breaking routes. I kind of thought he was just going to be more of a downfield guy. He's really good on hitches. The way he runs, he's a glider a little bit. And a lot of the scouting reports you read, it kind of makes it sound like he's not strong. And I think there's a lot of elements of strength that he needs to add to his game. But he has an ability to get off press and fight through it too. But the main thing he does that was just unbelievable is the way that he can track the ball when it's in the air. And it's almost watching, it's a cliche, but kind of watching a center fielder a little bit, but on bad passes though too, stuff that he shouldn't be able to track. He sees it, has the ability to get over, and then he has this insane wingspan that he can just go up and pluck it out of the air. I think all that stuff's going to play really well. I think he should be able to have a role with the Saints probably this season in some capacity. I think the big thing with him is just the concentration drops are a borderline, it's bad. That has to get cleaned up really, really quickly. Just settle down, catch the ball, and then go. And then some stuff over the middle. I think there's definitely some play strength that he needs to add to his game.
And don't feel the need to extend this answer if it's not a complicated one, but are the drops why he drops into the 6? Is it that simple?
Yeah, look, I think there was some stuff early in his career, some of the whispers, just maybe with dedication to the game and stuff that sounds like he got cured over time and just kind of having to know the person and be comfortable with it and everything. So I think there's some of that. And I mean, maybe a little bit with the drops. I don't think that's anything that's bad hands though. I think he just needs to be rewired to just, all right, slow down one beat, catch the ball. You are really good after the catch. You have good after the catch ability. just see the ball into your hands and then turn. Like, don't turn your head before the ball's in your hands. Like, I think that's just kind of the stuff that he needs to work on a little bit. Just slow it down and settle into it. And I think he should be able to cure some of that. But I wouldn't be surprised if it's something that's kind of, pops up here and there throughout his career.
All right, Nick, I'm going to go back to the running back conversation real quick because Kendre Miller is somebody that I think is a willing pass blocker. And they didn't ask him to do a ton of that at TCU. Certainly didn't ask him to be a receiver at the backfield a ton as well. But the first third down of the Saints season, who's going to be the third down back if AK is indeed suspended?
Ooh, man, that is a good question. I'm going to go with Jamal just because it's early in the season. But I think, say AK just, I don't know, disappears. If he's hurt or something by the end of the season, I think it's probably Kendre. And I think that's the way they want it to be. Some of the pass blocking stuff, I wish there was just more evidence of some of all this stuff on his film. Even with the pass catching, there were things that I really, really liked, but it's just straight up almost all screens. There was one wheel route where it was behind him and he had to go down and dig it out of the dirt. It was a really nice play. So you saw some ability there, but it is a major, major projection. AK's first game as a rookie, he went out and ran an out and up, which is a route that running backs they don't run very often and get targeted on it. And you knew that kind of watching him coming in, he's going to be able to do some of this stuff. Kendre, it's a total guess. I think he's going to settle into it. I think maybe if you asked me to make a guess right now, what type of receiver he's going to be, I think there's probably 2017 Mark Ingram type ability in there at the peak. I don't think he's ever going to be, the AK type where you're looking at him man, if their slot receiver went down, just throw AK in there. You'll be fine. I don't think that's Kendre's game, but I think he can do a lot of it. And I remain just completely fascinated by that room, how everybody's going to fit, how everybody's going to get snaps, where everyone's going to settle in. I don't know how it's going to play out. I mean, it's going to be absolutely fascinating. If they run 400 times next year, Taysom gets 65 carries. That's a good point. 20 carries a game.
I didn't think about that.
Yeah,
you got to get Taysom those touches as well. It's one of the best parts of your offense last
year. Yeah, and 65 is low. You probably want him. What was he at last year? 90, 95? But just say 65 is the floor because they're probably going to pass more. So their running attempts are going to go down. So 400 is probably a fair number. That's 20 touches a game. That's not very many for three guys that are all, one high twos, on any depth chart. So I don't know how it's all going to fit, but if they can figure it out, they're going to be really, really potent in that area of the game.
Yeah, well, I mean, the tough part about the pass protection stuff coming from college is in college, you see a back check will and get out, and he only has one check, or you see them free release, and that's the way that these college offenses are built, and that's just not the case in the NFL. I mean, Nick, you know this obviously. You're full scan. It's 4 down and Mike to the offensive line. You've got everybody else in a lot of these third downs, and so if anybody else comes, you got to be able to not only to be able to scan, and you're not going to maybe know that from the get-go, but also you have to scan and get out on your route. You don't want to knock a tackle off. And so, those are the things that it's hard to come from college where you check the will backer or the nickel will, whoever that might be, and then you're out. Well, now you got to check him. You got to check the corner. You got to check the other safety. You got to check the backside backer, backside corner, and then get out in your route. And that's what – you kind of lose some of that speed that the guy has because he's so worried about it. And then you learn, based off where people are lined up. But your rookie year, to your point, that's probably the most difficult part of it. So it's hard to imagine him starting in that third down role if AK is not there.
Yeah, I agree with that, though. But, look, it's an interesting thought process, though, because, that's one way that I think he could steal a lot of snaps, too, if he gets good at that quickly. Because AK – I love his game. I love everything he does. I think he's going to continue to be good. I think that is one area where if you watch him, there has been a regression in just the pass protection. And, that might be some of the issues with just post Breeze, things not being set right. There might be other things to go along with that, but there were a lot of blocks that he should have picked up last year that I think you can comfortably say, man, there was something, this kind of slipped a little bit. So I don't know if he just needs to get back into it, but yeah, Kendre could definitely, I think, come in and steal some of those third down snaps if he gets good at that aspect. By the end of the season, they were playing their backups in some of those third downs because there was a clear slippage in the pass protection.
And so I want to get off running back, but that does kind of beg the question.
Why would you want to do that?
I mean, I get it. I didn't say fullback. I said running back. We haven't mentioned fullback. It does beg the question of what's the future of AK in New Orleans? Because like you said, I mean, the divvying up of the reps, the management of the room, the money he's paid, you would think that he would have to still be the guy, but I don't know. It feels like there's more and more writing on the wall, kind of maybe saying that maybe he's not the guy.
I mean, look, I think this season he's probably here. They just redid the contract. I think if you were going to try to trade him, like his trade value is probably the lowest it could possibly be right now with the looming suspension, recently redone contract and all that stuff. So I think he's probably here for this season. But, at this point, anything they do with that room, I wouldn't be 100% shocked with. I could see anything occurring there. There was interest last year in him, and I think if they were going to trade him last year, probably would have made more sense to do it. They were still in the playoff picture at the time. They were hanging on to hope a little bit, but and you do have 2 new replacements now. So, I don't know. It's fascinating. I do think, though, as you look at it, he's 28 years old. They just drafted a guy in the 3rd round. That's a 4th guy picked in the draft. At some point, there's going to be a transition from a guy that is the face of your franchise. I think you could argue with AK, a legitimate superstar, but they are moving as if, okay, like this guy's 28 years old. He's going to be suspended. We got to get some young blood in here. Like it might just be like a 2017 type transition, where Mark and AK were on the same backfield. AK rose up. Mark kind of became second fiddle, and maybe that's how they settle in and go forward. But, my head wouldn't explode if anything happened at that position, though.
Hey, Nick, I want to ask you another kind of personnel question. If we're going...
Sounds like a personal question.
What?
My bad. I shouldn't talk.
Personnel question as far as like packages of players on the field for the offense. If you go 12 personnel, so obviously to our audience, if you have 2 tight ends on the field and we're playing game 1 right now, who are those 2 tight ends? Who's playing Y? Who's playing F?
Whew. Man, I can't use Taysom. I can't just cheat.
You can't, no, because I mean, look, if he's going to be a part of the offense in that role, because you don't draft a tight end when you had multiple tight ends available there, that might be their thought process.
Yeah, right now I would have to say him and Jawan. Like I don't know about Lucas Kroll, Miller Forstall. I was watching him recently. He can block a little bit, so he's someone that I think could be in the mix. They just signed, man, his name's escaping me. The UDFA. I watched him too a little bit. He can block a little bit. Brooke Kirchhoffer actually just reported last night that they have like a standing offer to Foster Moreau. So depending on how his health is, like he's someone that could still be in the mix as well. So if he gets healthy at some point, I think week 1's probably pushing it, but I don't know. I'm guessing like
if you sign him, he's your Y and Juwan's your F, right? I mean, you assume from day one.
Absolutely, and I think that's exactly what they need, and maybe some of the inaction at that spot is tied to that a little bit. I mean, that's a thought that I think you kind of have to have at this point. But I would go Taysom and Jawan, and I don't know. Like, I don't feel great about anybody else behind there. We just kind of got to see those guys. But there were things Kroll did well last year. I thought he blocked really good in the 3rd preseason game. Some of the run stuff was a little bit shaky at times. I think there's upside there for sure, though. But I would feel much, much better if there was somebody else that you just knew could play in line and block. Like, I think it's a huge issue right now for them. Maybe the biggest issue on the team right now for them, to be honest.
Yeah. Talking Nick Underhill at Nick_Underhill. We keep him so long every day, so we'll wrap up right now. New Orleans on Football is a site. They got very exciting things going on over there. You mentioned Brooke Kirchhoffer. I just got to sit down on the show with you all the other day, talk about LSU. It was very, very fun. Real quick, Nick, are the Saints playing the Patriots in Germany?
I've heard no, so I'm putting my money on no.
Damn.
Hey, look, it could be wrong. Like, they are so weird about the schedule stuff now that leaking that, like, if you ask 6 different people a question, you're gonna get 6 different answers about it, because I don't know. I guess they feel like it needs to be a TV event, but I'm betting on no. I'm not going out and get my global entry pass quite yet.
If you read between the lines when Nick comes on here, he basically tells you when he feels like something's pretty solid. So we'll see. New Orleans on Football is the site. Nick, tell everybody everything y'all got going on over there.
You just said it, man. Just check it out. New Orleans Football. All your Saints stuff is there. That's it.
Yeah, great YouTube channel too as well. All right, Nick, take it easy, man. You have a great day. Wow, just amazing black and gold takes right there, Jake.
I don't think I've ever heard any takes that are better than the 2 guys that just gave you that take.
And you can keep getting them by going ahead and liking, subscribing, ringing the bell to get notifications when we post. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next OTB Saints.